Hello, everybody. Sorry for the short delay here, trying to get some things done. Um, we're slowly trying to get back into the groove of what we normally do on this channel. For those who are unaware, Google snatched down the original. We are currently in the process of fighting to get it back up. It was snatched down based off of erroneous reports. I posted a video that had to do with the woman in Beaumont, which is down here in Texas, going to the school and whipping her kid, and what I felt about that, which was I was not happy about it, and I talked about it. You guys, a lot of you watched it. Well, anyway, someone reported it as a predatory post. And of course, Google has billions of users and they don't go through the process of vetting or validating charges. They just snatch stuff. And it originally came down as a warning. 3 hours later, my channel was gone. We're fighting to get it back up because there's a lot worse being done to kids on YouTube than a boy getting a spanking, which I disagree with, but that's where we're at, and that's why it's down of all the things. But you have to understand again that Google is a company that 75% of its workforce, over 75% of its workforce are white males. Any black man that speaks unapologetically pro-black, empowers blacks, is not willing to back down, is a threat, is intimidating. And so there's no hurry to rectify this situation. And if we have to take legal recourse, we will. We have to stand up and fight. But we also have to be aware of the need for us to create our own platforms. I cannot stress that enough, because just like that, 1,600 videos, 16,000 subscribers, an entire ecosystem of processed and distributing information, it's gone. And we're working to build it. I'm not a quitter, so I'm here. I'm here with a fraction of what I was working with just a week and a half or two ago. And I'll keep going and I'll rebuild and I'll keep doing it. But the thing is, we have to be smarter. We have to build. We've got a lot to do. I know that a lot of people are still searching for the channel. I'm slowly getting people asking what happened, and I'm sending them the link to this channel. Other people are actually finding it simply because they were actively looking for it and came across this channel, and we're going to do that. I have entered the link for supporting the work we do, which is the next thing we need to talk about real briefly here. We definitely need your support. It's now more evident than in any other time in the past that we need your support. There's so much going on, and we're so far behind the 8 ball in what we are doing and what we should be doing as individuals and as a collective. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and get into the reason I'm here, because there's so much going on. We've got the 60-day holistic challenge. So we are working on that, and we're doing that through two of the businesses, Master Fitness 21 and the Visionetics Institute. So I'm excited about that. I'm also participating and taking part in this challenge. So when I get off of here, I'm headed straight to the gym, which is only a part of the holistic health, but physical health is extremely important. So we are sharing that. I'm excited about that. For those who have been wishing me well and inquiring about my recovery, I'm almost there. Every day is a day is better than the day before. So I'm excited about that. Let's talk. We know that this ongoing debate about what happened with the Colin Kaepernick workout for the NFL and how it was a setup and what happened with the maneuvers. And, I've talked about my personal opinion about Cap and who he is and what he's doing. And I felt about that, but I also have an issue with the NFL. And I talked about that, and I talked about and explained why I believe Cap did what he did, and that it was actually a pretty smart move. But what you found here is this particular situation exposed some people. some people came out that looked like us, but could easily be identified as not being for us. Probably the most prevalent was Stephen A. Smith, who went completely on a rant on Colin Kaepernick for not showing up and doing the workout the way the NFL wanted him to do it, and completely ignoring all of the things that prompted Cap to do what he did. And I talked about that. Well, the internet in all its splendor has lit Stephen A. and a few others completely up and exposed them for being sellouts, for being self-serving, and basically doing the bidding of white supremacy. And it's done in so many different ways. Malcolm talked about it. Marcus talked about it. It's nothing new. It's what happens. It is often the case where white supremacy uses our own to muddy the waters, to write the narrative, to redirect and change the narrative. And we have to be willing to sit down and do the research. We have to be willing to sit down and look beyond what is presented on the surface through mainstream media. We should know by now that if it comes through mainstream media, it needs to be vetted. Anything needs to be vetted. Everything I tell you needs to be researched. And I love, when somebody looks up something, comes back and say, well, Doc, this is because I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. I'm not here because I know everything. I'm here because I'm committed. I'm here because I put in the work to understand and to know. I've put in thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of academic research, of experiential study, of evaluation and the development of programs to trying to be an impact in this community. And I believe I've earned the right to stand before you. And many of you have, because before they took down the channel, like I said, we were up to almost 16,000 subscribers from zero, 16,000 subscribers, 1,600 videos, and we were pushing. These lives were definitely more than just 3 people, but I'll show up for 3. I have no problem with that. This is not about ego with me. This is about standing firm and fighting. Good morning, Derek. Good morning, Pamela. Welcome. This is about more than any individual accolade, because I'll tell you the truth. Back when it was just Rick doing Rick in the younger days, it was a lot easier for me to do the things I want to do for me and my family because it wasn't that much resistance. The moment I stepped up and decided I was 100% committed to my people, not just dropping a little money in a bucket here, giving a speech here every now and then, but really just being totally committed, being unapologetic, not even bending and folding from my clients. Number one is I lost 2 of my top 3 clients within the first year of doing that. And I've lost a few more since. But I've also got a lot of different resistance in a lot of different ways. It's harder for me to make money for my family this way because a lot of people see me as a threat to their business. A lot of people see me as a personal threat. Some see me as being intimidating and a lot of other things. But the thing is, it was Dr. King that says that a man that does not have something for which he is willing to die is not fit to live. And that death comes in a number of different ways. Sometimes it comes as a death to self, a death to lifestyle as you know it, a death to the level of ease at which you're able to achieve and obtain things, and physical death as well. But you've got to be willing to put that on the line if you're really going to be an impact in this world in anything. And that includes empowering your people. So I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. But with that being said, you got to vet these cats, females too, you got to vet them. And Stephen A. came out and ripped Cap up, and everybody's had something to say. And before I get to Max Kellerman and his response and the eagerness and willingness of Black people to trade for white people and invite them to this phantom cookout, there's some things we need to understand about why we're so eager to do that. But first of all, I want to talk about this TO thing. TL came out and they asked him about it and he was on. And he basically said that when he watched that, he felt like Max Kellerman was blacker than Stephen A. Smith. We have to be careful with that. That while that sounds good, and T.O.'s my dude, but while that sounds good, I have a problem with it. I have a problem with giving any white person the status of black. See, there's something about blackness that we tend to cheapen when we pass it around so easily. We whine about our culture being appropriated, or reappropriated, or misappropriated, or taken and purposed, but we invite people in too easily. We pass out. You see, I've lived my blackness for 52 plus years. And I wake up every day questioning, have I done it justice? So when I see it passed on to somebody that does not live it, never has to be engaged with it, and I give them that, I'm cheapening it. It is the idea and the sense of a lack of true understanding and identity about who I am as a black man. Nothing against Max Kellerman. I don't believe that solely simply because a white person speaks truth concerning issues that impact black people in a way that may be beneficial to the black narrative, that they deserve to be pushed into and pulled into our blackness. Now, it was just a few years ago that everybody drugged the hell out of Rachel Dolezal when they found out that she wasn't actually black and that she had been pretending to be black, that literally had a job that supposedly stood and represented people in the black community and all of this. And to today, she refuses to acknowledge that she's not black. She's changed her name, she's done all that, and she still is getting drugged. Now, with all that being said, she should have been checked. I'm not with you checking in. I know you see the beauty in our blackness. I know you see the stride of our and the beauty of the gait of our women. I know you see the strength and the standard of our men. I know that there's something special about the bass in the voice of a black man. I know that there's something melodious about the voice of a black woman. I know this, and I know it's all inspiring, but you don't get to just jump in. So I'm not saying that we should have let Rachel Dolezal in. No, I'm saying, but if you're going to drag her, a person that's willing to be treated black, live black, if she can't get in, how are we inviting white people in solely because they make a statement that we find favorable? See, my blackness was born, I was born into it. Now I embrace it. I wouldn't want to be anything else. I don't want no white woman. I don't need no white approval. I'm not trying to have white validation. Any white people that I have in my circle are because they came and had to prove they meant me no harm. And they know now and understand without a shadow of a doubt, if it came down between them, even though they've been very good to me and my people, they gotta go. I'm in this, but see, I've lived it. I've lived the good, the bad, and the ugly. I've done some things I'm not proud of. I've lived at a level at some time that I knew I could have done better. And I challenge myself daily to wake up and honor my blackness. So I can't hand it out. I can't extend it out to other people because they can't live it the way I lived it. They can't honor it the way I honor it. They don't deserve it. We got to stop inviting white people to the cookout, this phantom cookout that we got. We got to stop with this phantom delegation of trading off black people for white people. Do you understand the underwritten narrative of that? Yes, I don't want to have jack to do with Stephen A. Smith. I don't have jack to do with Charles Barkley. I don't have jack to do with Steve Harvey. And that's based solely off of me observing them doing things that were absolutely, unequivocally detrimental to black, period. Not because I don't like them as a person. I don't care how I feel about you as a person. You're a black man, you're a brother. You're a black woman, you're a sister. I'm going to respect you even when you're not respecting yourself. I'm going to keep my mouth to myself even when you're out there clowning and acting. If I come after you, it's because I believe you totally abandoned the Black collective and you're out serving yourself. And Stephen A. Smith is definitely that person. But what can you expect when you're being paid $8 million a year over the next 5 years to be the voice and the mouthpiece of a racist industry to smooth it over with the Blacks? You know, you have to watch the history of these people. I didn't come to these conclusions because somebody said something I like. People say stuff I don't like all day. But are you consistently acting in a way that I know you're not for me? That's what we have to look at. But we've got to stop inviting these people into the collective, inviting them to the cookout, and they're more Black. No, Max Kellerman is no more Blacker now than he was before he made that statement. He's a white man. And to his own credit, he's admitting that his whiteness has given him a certain benefit, certain advantage, certain privilege that Blacks don't have. And that because of that, he's able to sit up and say that, and he won't get the pushback that a Stephen A. Smith will get back in the same arena. He might get pulled to the side. Stephen A. Smith can literally be shut down. We know that because about a year and a half ago, he decided to say something that was actually not checking and talking down and going off on a Black athlete. And it happened to involve a white woman. He got suspended. He had to make an apology, and he ate it and did it and came back. All that, man, I don't care what nobody say and this here and that and all this here. That didn't fly then. He took that suspension and he apologized to that woman. Something he hasn't done to a lot of these athletes that he's came at and talked about and said everything. He made a career out of going after Allen Iverson. And finally, this whole thing, man, these two guys, and like I said, T.O.'s my guy. I've got a unique place for T.O. But this whole street cred thing, who really is more credible in the streets? You know how many people are in prison? How many Black men out of the 1.5 million missing Black men are in prison behind street credibility? Street credibility is something that we don't need to be arguing about. And as men, as Black men in 2019, moving into 2020, we don't need to be arguing about street credibility. We need to be arguing about the credibility of being a Black man, Black manhood credibility, Black community involvement credibility, Black community impact credibility is what we need. How street we are and how that has no bearing on our ability to be able to go. Should we be able to walk into the community and be respected because we're from the community and we're still connected to the community? Absolutely. But that's not won by arguing about some street cred or some image about how Black you are, which gives a narrative to Black being street, Black being violent, Black being criminal, Black being anything but simply being Black. And it takes away from what we are as a whole and a collective. We've got to do a better job of that too. Both of them on national television trying to validate their Blackness by how street credible they are. See, my Blackness goes beyond my street credibility. Yes, I came up in the hood. Yes, I came up rough. And no, I was not soft. And I'll leave it at that. But that's not where I stand. I stand on the fact that I didn't leave the people in my hood to fend for themselves. When I made it out of the hood, I stayed connected. I stayed involved. I'm still involved. I go and I do things for people and with people. That's where it matters to me, not to get on and argue about how hard and how tough I am on TV. When neither person is in the same room, we're on monitors. It's easy to get G'd up when you're on a monitor. We've got to do better. With that being said, look, I'm not going to stay on here long, but we have a lot of work to do. For those of you that took the time out to find this backup channel, man, I appreciate you guys. You have shown some love. We're a long way from the 16,000 we had, but we are not folding. For those who have showed up, I appreciate it. I also don't forget to give. Right now, we need your support more than you can possibly imagine. We're going to continue to go on and do the things we need to do and the work we need to do. And I am challenging every last one of you to help us reach our goals. On that note, I'm going to get off of here. Um, you guys have an unbelievable day. I'm almost certain I'll be back before the end of this day. And on that note, I'm out.